I am excited to start this conversation about relationship with this one person that I'm so excited to introduce you to is Nick. Nicholas, correct?
Yeah, Nick's fine. Generally go by Nick, so that's all good.
Me and Nick have come from the same class when we had taken personal training together. And the reason why I am interviewing him today is because I got to know this guy so well in the time that we have been friends, right? We've been really, really close. And I think we really
Yeah.
connect through our souls. So it was amazing to see how much he's grown. Nick has had several different amazing, beautiful relationships, which some lasted, some never did. Some he's learned a lot of lessons about, but
Yeah.
he's at a point in his life where he's ready to move on to a woman that is for real, someone that he's looking to actually have a relationship that is for sure kind of relationship. But the question is, a lot of women ask is, what do men really want?
I think men
So
could ask the same thing for like of women.
exactly. But I think in this situation, I think we feel that though men are around and we're there as a woman, we just feel like as if we don't understand them and we don't know why we don't understand them. So that's something that I think this is a podcast for. So, Nick, I want you to introduce yourself,
Sure.
introduce who you are, and then this way I can ask you the first one most question that everyone is looking forward to answering, and maybe you can answer at the same time is, what do you want in a relationship?
Oh, that is a very big question. It's I think you have to balance between wants and needs when it comes to a relationship, as well as what you can expect from someone. Um, Expectation in a relationship has been something that I've very much had to come to terms with. Very much had to realize that the other person is never going to be me, is never going to think like me. But I can probably find someone who's close, has a lot of similarities in that aspect. Um, but with the life I've lived, with the amount I've traveled, the things I've experienced, growing up in Africa of all places, it's you see a different side of the planet that not everyone gets to experience, and it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself and what I want. I also grew up in a broken home, so to say. My parents split up, and I think my dad wasn't around that much as a kid, but he did his best. Like, I will give him that. And my mom had things that she had to do, and I think that's where the basis of what I wanted in a relationship started. Is the first thing I wanted first and foremost was uh, a nuclear family, so to say. Like, I definitely want to get married. I definitely want to have kids. Um, and I did come from somewhat of an abusive background growing up. That's in the past, so I've healed those things with my family. But it made me very protective as a person. The first person I was ever extremely protective of was my sister. And the way we got treated in certain aspects, it immediately instilled that thought in me, like, my partner, I have to be very careful about how I choose, because my kids will be a priority. No matter who my partner is, my kids will come first. And so I need to make sure that my kids aren't going to have a mother who's abusive, who's going to put them down, who's going to live vicariously through them, because I want them to grow in their own universe, so to say. I want to help them structure their own world, but I don't want to live their life for them. So protect them as much as I can. Obviously, growing up in this world, it's a hard place. Um, so the big thing for me was finding the right partner, or is finding the right partner who is going to look after my kids as much as I want to look after my kids, and is going to prioritize them in that aspect. Second to that, I would say, is someone, who is going to accept me as an emotional man.
I like that. Yeah. Emotional man.
um,
Yeah. I think a
yeah,
lot of women want that. We don't get the emotional out of men. It's just like,
you see, you say that, but you don't, because at least in my experience, or maybe I just have a bad taste in the woman I've been with, but uh, like I've had a few relationships where I'll get the, oh yeah, you can be open with me, you can be emotional around me, um, and then I have been, I've had a breakdown, I've cried in front of exes, and they react badly. They're like, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what to do in a situation where a man is emotionally unstable, so to say, like, and that for me is a little bit like, okay, well, remove the fact that we're, male and female, so to say. We're still human beings. We still experience life. We still go through hardship. And that expectation comes in there. Like, don't expect me to be perfect. Don't expect me to be constantly strong. Like, yes, I'll be strong. I will support you as much as I can, but I need that reciprocation. Right. And that's another big aspect, is reciprocation in a relationship. If I am giving, in a sense, I expect you to give back. It doesn't have to be the same way that I am giving to you, but I need to see that the actions that you like are putting out there into our relationship are, in a sense, matching the energy that I am giving you. So reciprocation is another big thing. But definitely the emotional aspect, like, you when you're going to marry someone, you have that
yeah.
intention of being with that person for the rest of your life, until death do us part. Um, and so you need to also understand, and I think maybe for me, I would have to find someone who's had a little bit more worldly experience, who's gone through some things, um, because you're going to lose your family. Your parents are going to die. Your friends, you could lose friends. You're going to lose people who are very close to you, and that is a heart wrenching feeling. It feels like your entire world around you has just collapsed, like you don't know what to do with yourself. And so a partner who recognizes that that is a hardship that you are really struggling with is extremely important, because they kind of need to hold the foundation at that point, as you would for them in the same kind of situation. um Money has always been a big aspect as well for me. I don't like money, is what I want to say, but I do enjoy money. Money is a great tool, but that also, came from growing up with my family. Money was something that was kind of used against us, and so I was always like, okay, like, if I'm in a relationship, I don't want your money. Like, I don't mind buying you things. I don't mind like splurging on you. To me, the yes, I understand, you have to save and all that kind of stuff, but I could die tomorrow and my money's useless to me. So, I will use the money as I need to, but I'm not wanting to use your money. I will make my own money. And so I see that balance that is a need. I don't think one should be dependent on the other. There are obviously situations where that differs, and one of the things is, if you lose your job or something happens, you don't have that income. So having a partner who's like, That's okay. I am willing to support you while you get back on your feet, while you find more work." And the only reason I'm saying these things is because it's exactly what I would do. I'm not asking someone to do something that I wouldn't do for them first. So hardship is definitely something that I think maybe in the modern day, a lot of people aren't aware of or aren't prepared for, going into a relationship. I think as you mature, as you go through relationships, as you learn more about yourself, you put the puppy love aside at some point. You understand that the infatuation, the lust, the I don't want to say it's not exciting, because you have to have excitement in your relationship, but you look at the aspects differently when you get older. You start to acknowledge that, hang on, I need more realistic foundations in my life, that I know I can depend on a person if I need to. And that's one thing, is I think every relationship needs to go through certain trials before the point of commitment where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna put a ring on it and I'm gonna stick with this person, you know. So yeah, I think someone who is willing to hold the foundation and treat my kids better, or like as well as I could, would definitely be the priorities in my life, and reciprocation of energy. Like a relationship where one side is just taking and one side's giving is going to fail. You know, I like the 80-20 rule. If 80% of everything is good and 20% is bad, you can pretty much deal with that. That's still an A.
Wow. I'm amazed of your answer. All I can say is, all right, so Nick does want a relationship. He does want someone that respects him and replicates his emotions with him, with the person that he's with. He does want to have kids, for sure. He's already mentioned it more than once. He also wants that respect, and I think it's the abusive family that you've come through that you don't want the person that you are going to be with to be abusive. You do not want to be a sugar daddy, unfortunately.
No.
I was hoping for that one, but that just might have been me, so that's okay. And also, you're saying a little bit more about respect and just being someone that loves you for who you are. And I love that
Absolutely.
because it is true in a relationship, you just need to have two people
Yeah.
that you can trust, talk to, be friends with, enjoy each
Right.
other. No, I like that. And that's exactly what a woman does want in a relationship. And you're right. There are times where I think what ends up happening in a relationship is we become very comfortable with each other. And that comfortableness just starts to become, well, you'll be fine if this happens, or you'll be fine if that happens. And it's never that lovey-dovey kind of honeymoon kind of, you
Mm.
know, relationship
3 months in. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it can last about a year, maybe 2 years. It is there, it happens. And then it kind of just slowly fades away, knowing that, you're there. And it takes time to work at it. You need to keep working on it in order for it to last,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? That's the biggest thing. And for women and for men, we tend to always blame the other partner when it's
Right.
really sometimes it's
Yeah.
yours, sometimes it's mine, but we don't want to take the responsibility, that's for sure.
Right.
Let's ask you a question. What do
Yeah.
you first notice about a woman when you're trying to find someone that you like? What do you
I
notice?
feel like this is an extremely loaded question. um, so I'm going to start off with my biological perspective on this, and that is first and foremost, if you're not blind, you're going to notice something physical about the person first. That is a given, you know. So people who are like, oh, looks don't matter, you know, I understand that aspect. Personality is definitely a bigger part, but that initial like contact with a person is most likely going to be a physical aspect. um Me personally, I love a smile and eyes. um it might sound weird, but one of my favorite things to do is just sit with my partner and stare into their eyes, and like it's almost like having a conversation with them without words. There's just this connection through their eyes. And I pay so much attention to the detail in a person's eyes. Their iris is just like, you know, the flecks of color, the slight distortions, because there's so much uniqueness in the eye, and the eye observes the world, you know, it takes in everything. And so like when you're staring into another person's eyes, so to say, it's it's definitely like looking into their soul. It almost removes the barrier of the body in a sense. It allows you to feel naked, feel vulnerable with the person, to not hide from them. Because what I've noticed is just in a general aspect, you know, you'll be walking down the street or you'll be sitting on a bus or something, and the moment you make eye contact with someone, it's like, oh, you know, I wasn't looking there, you know. But in a partnership, in a relationship, you know, you can learn so much, you can understand so much just with a person's eyes. And so generally when I meet a person, I will watch their eyes, so to say. I'll look at their eyes, and the smile is almost the follow-up, because I mean, I just stupidly smile like an idiot when I'm staring in someone's eyes, like, hey,
The
um,
eyes are so powerful,
yeah,
because I remember when if a man did look at me like that and just looked at me, I would feel shy. I'd feel kind of like, okay, what's going on? It is a very powerful thing. And it's
it
you're right,
is.
it's a soul connection right there. Especially when
Yeah,
someone's looking right through you, it's like, what's really going on? Because they're not really looking at your face, they're not looking at your body, they're looking at who you truly are. And
right.
that is so beautiful. Oh, Nick.
I mean, don't get me
I
wrong, I do have
I
the
don't know.
typical
Are you
guy
pretending
answer,
to be
like,
friends because you're going to be online, or are you like seriously doing this because it's true? Like, yes, the eyes are gorgeous. It just stare at anyone, just look at
yeah,
them and tell them how beautiful they are, just who they really are, truly from within, and
yeah,
just takes the moment away.
yeah. I mean, like, physically you're going to change for the rest of your life, but your eyes almost never change.
No,
They stay the same from a few months after you're born. Like, most babies are born with blue eyes, so you can't really say from the moment you're
most
born.
babies.
Most babies. um, but yeah, your eyes are something that hardly change through your life. And so for me, kind of falling in love with a person's eyes is falling in love with them. Doesn't matter what the rest of their body changes over time. uh, I had a relationship where my partner was very insecure about the way she looked and how she felt about it. And I can understand, for women, that's a very big thing, insecurity in the way that, they look. And it's a big thing in men, but I think it's, in terms of a woman's aspect, the objectification and sexualization of women in the media definitely puts a lot of pressure on how am I supposed to look? How can I feel comfortable with myself? Um, and so for that, a, for me, it got to the point where I said to her, it's like, I've fallen in love with the person that you are. If you had to end up getting scarred or end up in a wheelchair or something, like, I'm not gonna leave you because I'm not an asshole like that, Like, I still care about you. And at that point, I feel like you would need me more than anything. And I do have that hero complex. I do have that savior complex. It does get in the way sometimes, but that's another thing with the eyes, is the eyes almost never change. I mean, maybe if they were to go blind, but it's yeah. I'm gonna be I mean, you get that like film over your eyes sometimes with people who go blind, but you still got beautiful eyes. I can stare at them, you don't have to see me.
Oh, it's too funny. Oh my God. I like how you said that. It's the first thing that you notice is the eyes.
Yeah,
So do you really okay, so that's a nice thing. I like that because that really put a lot of information and a lot of stuff that you can tell with girls when you see them. I love that. I really like that. And insecurities, yes, we do have that. We have a lot of
yeah,
that. It's just we need to learn how to remove the insecurities, and that's what I talk
right,
a lot about is the insecurities. We need to love women do need to love themselves a lot better and a lot more.
absolutely.
And I used to do it to my husband too. I used to say, "Oh, I'm fat," or "I'm like this," and like that. And he used to look at me, and instead of saying nice things back to me, he'll be like, "Well, yeah, because you eat your chocolates and because you're fat."
It's comfortable,
And
it's
you know what?
banter,
He puts it right back at me. And he'll be like, well, you're not really taking care of yourself. And he's right.
Yeah,
But he's trying to tell me this because indirectly he knows that I know the information myself, but yet I'm not putting in the effort to do anything.
no, yeah.
Or I'll go in the fridge or I'll find something or I'll find a chocolate bar and I'll eat it. And then he'll look at me. He's like, I wouldn't eat that if I were you because if I eat it, it'll look like one very soon. And
Honesty is good. Honesty is good. That's for sure. Honesty is good. I mean, I know you guys might not like it sometimes, but honesty is good.
so yeah, it is good honesty, but sometimes it's just like I look at him and I'm like, well, and you're just gonna have to stick around with me while I'm fat. So, but now that I have the confidence, like for me, it's like I'm fine. I'm okay. I can have a little bit. You need
Hey,
to learn how
You're a
to have a
personal trainer mama now though, so like you just kill it, go eat your chocolate and then hit the gym. You're fine.
All right, another question here for you.
Yeah.
When you do meet your number one or your girl or the person
Mhm.
that you're with, do you tell your friends right away about her? Or do you
Ooh.
just or or does it take time before you talk to anyone about her?
um it depends on the girl, really, or the woman, should I say. I don't like using the term girl. It just makes it seem so like, you
You're
know,
so young and yeah,
yeah,
must
you
be a
haven't
woman. You're a
matured yet,
woman.
yeah, I want a woman. Like, um, I used to, the moment I met a girl or a woman, I would immediately tell my friends, my family, because I was excited. I was like, wow, I've met this person, I've connected with this person, and I'm a very, I tend to be an oversharing kind of person too. So I'm always like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. This is the person I met. But then it got to the point where it's like, do I know this person? Is this someone I do want in my life continuously? And is this someone I want to introduce to my friends, my family? Because it's a whole new level, so to say, bringing in a partner to the family aspect, like when I've had breakups before, it's really hit me hard. It's torn me to pieces, and generally my family is the one who's had to be there to pick up the pieces and help me get back on my feet. And I almost felt responsible in that sense, that I can't put this on my family. I can't have my family thinking, oh no, when's this woman going to break his heart, or what's going to happen at this point, kind of thing. And I also didn't want to talk about someone that I didn't know yet, because I didn't want to build an image or a persona of this person in my head that I was describing to my family or my friends. And then I've fallen in love with a fantasy that doesn't exist. And, people then meet the person and they're like, maybe, this isn't quite the person you were describing, or, are you sure this is the right person? My last relationship, I had a lot of people tell me like, Nick, red flags, I mean, like, no, 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 you don't know her, you don't understand her like I do. Yeah, don't ignore red flags, that's all I can say. um but yeah, I think now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I need to suss this person out myself first before I tell my family. Like, I'll tell my family, oh yeah, I went on a date, I met someone, like it was a nice, but I won't go into detail about the person. I won't like describe them, or make it as if this person is now a part of my life, I'm committed, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think now that I'm older, I've pulled back on just talking about every woman I go on a date with, or meet, kind of thing. So yeah.
It's good. It's good just kind of getting to know them first, right?
Right.
Making sure
Yeah.
this is the one that you really want to be with. I don't know. And if you tell your parents right away, they get excited, or your friends, and a lot of friends would kind of like, see you guys all the time together. You're not too sure if this is the one, you're just kind of getting to know them. So then how long do you think it can take? If do you think that there is a
uh,
number to that in order for you
no,
to tell your
I
friends?
don't think. I think adding constructs to a relationship like that, where you have these society-based milestones, so to say, is setting yourself up for failure, because you shouldn't be trying to understand or know the person on society's terms, or bring them into it on society's terms, because it's not society's relationship, it's your relationship with the person. So you need to gauge whether, you know you are how do I want to say this, like, are we just friends, or are we something more, kind of thing,
Yeah.
because am I going to introduce you to my friends and family as a friend, or am I going to introduce you to them as, this is someone I'm wanting to see, this is someone I'm willing to put the effort in, and the time with. So I don't think there's a timeline. I just do think that you shouldn't jump the gun. You should give it time. You should take a few weeks at least, just to know, go on a few dates for sure. You know, because a facade is so easy to hold up, but it's so easy to hold up for a limited amount of time. As soon as it's like, I'm going to give you a number, but I hate it. It's like 3 months, right? A person can't lie to you about who they are and maintain the lie for a long period of time. So give the person time to truly show who they are. Because you're also doing the same. You're always putting your best foot forward with the person. You might try to be the best person, but you have your flaws, and acknowledging that the other person is the same way. I think you need time to allow each other to acknowledge the flaws and then determine from there, are these flaws I can deal with, or are they not? Do I need to continue, or do I need to end it? So yeah, I
So
think
technical, hey? So technical when it comes to a relationship, Nick. Wow. Do I need to end it or do I not need to end it? Is she the right one or is she not? Do you even know if the girl that you're going to be with will be the right one at all?
no,
Like that's
but
something that you need to think of, right? Like, no,
true.
she's right. I'm not going to end it. We don't know nothing when it comes to a relationship, honestly
No,
speaking. And I think that at that moment and at that time, if you think that it's correct and it's right, it's just the right time, then you just follow your heart and go for it, right?
for
And
sure, for
see
sure.
how life takes it from there.
I think
Definitely.
personally for me, the reason I am so technical about it is because I've almost, you know, I'll if something bugs me, I'll be like, I'll tell myself I can deal with it when really I don't. I'm actually not dealing with it. I'm just rubbing it off because I don't want to lose the person. I'm more focused on staying with the person than actually understanding what's right for me. Not to say that they're a bad person, but do we fit with each other? And many times before, this is something I've actually had to acknowledge in my therapy is like, what am I allowing to happen that I am actually not comfortable with? And I'm setting myself up for failure at those points because I've set a basis for what this person expects from me or understands of me and believes that they can be with me when I'm just, trying to fit their mold rather than finding a balance.
Wow, I like it. It's so technical, so technical. Good. It's a really good aspect that a lot of women are looking for, right? They're looking for that. And some are just kind of like, let's just be us for now and see what happens.
Yeah, no, for sure. Don't put pressure on it for sure. Like,
Oh,
go with the
absolutely.
flow.
So, Nick, when you do meet a girl and you do find her and you're with them and you're interested in someone, I have to ask you, what is your flirting technique since you have techniques?
I
Do you
mean,
flirt with them? Do you
I
do
don't
you
know if I
do
should disclose this information.
yeah.
I kind of feel like like this is like, ooh, okay. Because if any
No, you
girl, like if any
gotta be
woman hears
honest
me,
here, right?
if
I
any
brought
woman
you
like
here to
hears
be
this,
honest with me. I don't care who's listening to this. They'll be like, Nick, this is how I know his technique. If they meet you, they meet you.
uh, hmm. I tend to be very cocky about myself. Like I
Yeah.
try to, yeah, no, I very much like, I'm like you won't be better than me. Come on, like, I'll big myself up for sure. Yeah, it's like a sales tactic. I think most guys do it, peacocking essentially,
Absolutely.
um, because you have to make your impression before you can follow up with it. You have to make some kind of connection that allows the woman to be like, am I comfortable with this man? Am I willing to allow this man to continue further? So like being cocky about myself isn't always just making myself the greatest thing alive. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, but I have my downfalls. Like, like I'm weird as heck. Like if you can manage my weirdness, then we might be able to get somewhere with this. If not, like I'll leave now, there's no problem. Um, but I think banter. I don't know if many people know what banter is, but just like humor, like quick fire humor, is definitely one of my sure ways to go. If I can make her laugh, that's the best thing for me. because then I know I'm getting the connection, the response that I'm looking for. Compliments, yes, but I find like women are always like, oh, it's like it's the same old thing over and over again, kind of thing. Like, yes, they like to hear it, but they don't like to hear it all the time, and they don't want to be focused on the physical aspects.
I
So
don't know who you heard from that we love the physical aspect, and we love when someone keeps telling us that we look great and that we're if you
yeah,
keep
but then it
telling
gets
us
to the point
that
where it's
we
like,
look
yeah.
good, come on, who would not like that?
But then it's like, oh, okay, well, I've had previous relationships where it's like, you tell me I'm beautiful too much. You say these things too much, and it's ended up where they seek validation from other guys because my validation of them
Because
is too continuous. It's
they don't
like,
have any kind of, when a woman tells you that, you tell me that I'm beautiful too many times, okay, whoa, there you go, they have issues with
you're
themselves.
right, right.
Right. But when a
So
man actually, sorry, when I'm married, and if my man doesn't come and tell me that, oh, you're so beautiful, or I'll be like, you haven't even said once that I look good in anything that I'm doing. Like, I'll make sure I tell them, and hello, can you at least tell me if I look good? Like, I'm dressed up, at least say something. Like, and then he'll be like, oh, my husband will be like, I did tell you you look good. Excuse me, I didn't hear
yeah.
anything. I need to hear it more than once, and then we'll talk about it. But
Fair
I
enough. I
don't know who
suppose
you were
it's dependent
dating.
on the
I don't
woman.
know what woman you were dating, but we love, and I'm going to say it again, we love to be told how beautiful we are.
Fair enough. I also, the I think because I have dated women who have had a lot of insecurities on their physical aspect. If
Yeah.
I do compliment a woman, I like to focus more on her personality, her traits. I love an intelligent woman. Like, if I can have an intelligent conversation with you about biology, the universe, spirituality, that kind of thing, then
Yeah.
like great, and
Yeah.
I love a woman who is smart, independent, yes, but like not to that independent where it's like I never want to be like anything to do with you kind of thing, like but yeah, intelligence for me, whew, yeah. uh
Amazing. So, do you feel though that sometimes women, when you meet someone, though you know how you become this cocky, this person that makes you tell people that you're great and that you're this person, you show someone, when you're talking to them. You think women do the same thing to you, so then they can
Absolutely.
feel they feel like they're really great just so that they can amuse you because they like you in any way? You think
Yeah,
that we would do the same thing?
I think so. I think if a woman has enough confidence in herself, it comes out way more, and I like that. I'm not like, I find that women who are insecure are easy targets for manipulation, and I've noticed that. And there was a woman that I dated for a while, and I said to her, I was like, you're very easy to manipulate, and I'm only telling you this because I care about you. But I could get you to do whatever I wanted you to do just because I know how your insecurities work. And I would explain them to her, like I would kind of do a setup, like a science experiment, right? Like I would go through the process and get her to come to this outcome where she's done something, and like I'm not saying anything like bad or dangerous, it's just like little things, and I'd be like, do you see what happened there? Do you see what just happened? And she'd be like, no. And I was like, I did this, I said this, and I did this to get you to do this, this, and this, just because you're insecure of yourself, because you're not confident in your own ability. So confidence is key, because it means you're not going to let me walk all over you. And I like a woman who's not going to let me walk all over. Like, tell me straight up, like, if
That's
because
awesome.
in that I see a partnership that can grow, a partnership where you can depend on a person. So I think a key is just become confident in yourself and demonstrate that confidence. If a man isn't willing to let you be confident, he's got his own problems. He is power hungry, he's insecure with himself, and he is going to abuse you, manipulate you, and get what he wants from you. And you are just going to be stuck at the end of it, hurting, wondering why nothing is going the way you're doing, like you want it to go, and you're going to feel like you're giving and giving and giving, and it's just not going to get anywhere, you know? So confidence, because you're going to save yourself a lot of pain.
You're so right. And I'm so glad you bring that up because I talk about that a lot, just how we need to be confident in ourselves to be able to we're able to show the confidence around in the world too, right? Without confidence, without loving ourselves, there's no way of us being able to love anyone around us. I think that's a
Hmm.
very big, huge thing that a lot of women need to learn. I see a lot of men doing it for themselves, but when it comes to women, I don't see it happening as much. So
Yeah,
that's
society's definitely made that a problem. You know, if you don't mind me going a little off track, but along those lines, um, I never knew this about women until a very recent relationship that I had. Um, I never knew that women got told to be submissive in an instance where a man is aggressive, because it doesn't escalate the situation. And that was shocking to me. I can understand it, but the fact that women from when they're little girls are being told not to escalate a situation, to rather be submissive, not in the sense of let him do what he wants, but don't instigate further, that is something that definitely needs to be acknowledged and worked on in our society. And it's hard because, you know, men are in a general sense physically more powerful. So if we are finding resistance, our go-to is that physical aspect where it's like, I can overpower the situation with sheer muscle. And so it became shocking to me where it's like, wow, women are told to be submissive. Like, when I have a daughter, my daughter is gonna be like black belt in 5 different martial arts. The second a guy tries to land a hand on her, I'm not even gonna have to step in and be like, buddy.
I think those are very old thinking, though. I believe that's a very old thinking when it comes to women. I think now society has gotten a little bit better that way, where a lot of these
Yeah.
women are a lot stronger and a lot more powerful than even men are. And it's become a more of a woman's world than it has of a man, just so you know. Just thought I'd tell you how it is right
Yeah.
now, you know?
Fair enough.
The reason I say that to you is because the women are now doing what men used to be doing.
Yeah.
Women are now supporting each other and being more powerful than even men can ever be. You know what I mean? So today, when
Yeah.
I say that, it's because one, I feel women have gone a long ways to be where they are today. And so there are some women that are still in the olden days and they're still in
Hmm.
that security and unsecurity place, but there are women now that are very strong and they're doing a lot more than a man could ever do. So I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that up because there's a lot of information out there that can support those kind of women. So that's really
Absolutely. And you guys are honestly, you know, you're the most powerful in your numbers. Like you don't want to
yeah.
get, you don't want to fight a woman when she's got like 3 other women around her. Like you're just gonna lose that fight. Doesn't matter if you have 3 men around you. Like even my my therapist, this is something my therapist told me, and it's so funny. You know, she's like, no matter what you think, women are definitely psychologically like more superior than men.
Yeah.
And I get that. I'm like, yeah, you know, like you guys pretend to be dumb, to be like, you know, all this like around the corner. I know what you're doing. I can see it now. I'm not
I
gonna.
I think I'm going to stop this conversation right now.
But yeah,
Uh,
no.
I have to ask you a question about something though, because
Hmm.
in a relationship, I feel honesty is such a big thing. And I
Hmm.
feel two people have their own lives. Though you
Hmm.
are with this woman and though you guys are partners, I feel that a man has still his own life, his own
Hmm.
work, his own things that he does. A woman has her life, a lot of things that she needs to get done. And yet you still come together and you guys are partners and you guys are a married couple or you guys are a couple, whatever the situation is. So
Right.
when I talk to you a little bit about relationship in that reason, how much honesty do you feel is needed in a relationship?
I would say absolute, but to give you a number, high 90s, like 90%. I would even say like 99.9%. The
It's
only
okay if I'm talking to someone else, but I haven't told you about it. It's
mm,
okay if I go
I,
to
I
work and there's a few things that I haven't told you about work yet. Is it
so
okay? To have a
I
little
think,
bit of me around, not, you don't need to know everything about me. I'm not
oh
doing
yeah,
anything
no,
behind your
no, no,
back, but
no. I think there's a difference between being honest and having to know everything that's going on in a person's life.
right.
Um, I don't need to, like, if you're out with your friends, I don't need to know what you're doing. Like, in a relationship, I feel like if you truly care about a person, you will, in a sense, stay in touch with them when you're doing things. Like it'll be like, oh, I'm here with so and so. More out of maybe just a safety aspect, like where I am, who I'm with, like if anything happens. Um, I don't think you should be with someone who is willing to hide things from you, because if they're you're immediately dating a liar. You're immediately dating a fake person. Um,
Absolutely.
honesty is absolute. Like, the if I'm saying like 99.9%, that 0.1% is, it's not hiding things. It's not that, like, you're not knowing everything about my life. It's that white lie, like, yeah, you look, your ass doesn't look too big in that. Or like, it's those minor things that aren't important, so to say. Like, do I want to deal with the outcome of this situation when it really isn't anything? I i still feel like, so here's my problem, is I yeah, it's a problem. Is I value myself as an honest person. I know I
Yeah.
can be dishonest, but true to myself, I try and be as honest as possible. It takes so much energy to maintain lies. So, like, why would you even just want to do that? So I'll be honest. My problem is, I am often too blunt in my honesty, and it's not because I'm trying to hurt you. It's just my mentality, the way I think, is I am going to give you the most direct answer, so you know exactly what I'm talking about and how I can relay this information to you. Um, so I feel like having that kind of aspect where, even if your partner almost hurts you in a sense, like, you take that emotional feeling into consideration when someone tells you something, I would still want to be told. I still want to know these things that are wrong, these things that are affecting you, the things that are bugging you, because if you're just like holding those things in you, it starts to fester, it starts to build. Small problems become bigger problems until you've created this image, this story in your head that really doesn't exist. And you start lashing out at each other. You're not working on anything. You just start accusing the person. You always do this. You never do this. Da 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 da. And it's more, when it comes to honesty, the main thing is not what the person is doing. It is how it makes you feel. So, hey, I understand you've done this. I, I don't really understand, but I want you to know it makes me feel this way, and I want you to know it makes me feel this way, because then you're not accusing the person of attacking you or harming you or doing these things to you, because they're not. In a general aspect, most people are just trying to do the best for themselves. They're trying to do what they think is the best thing. So that honesty needs to be at a level where it's like, I can come to you about anything and everything if I need to. And that's just how it should work. That's where the communication comes in. Like, you shouldn't be with someone who's not honest. So you can have your
Absolutely.
life, you can have these things that you want to do. I'm not trying to get involved in your life in that aspect. I'm not trying to take away your independence or control the things that you're doing. But if you're doing something that you are knowingly going to hide from me, because if you told me it would be a big problem, then you need to look at yourself first and be like, should I even be doing that in the first place?
It's
You
the
know?
thought, right? It's knowing
Yeah.
that if I tell him this, he might get upset. If
Yeah.
I say something to him, he might get pissed for something. Like, we feel, I guess that happens if you know you did something wrong.
Yeah.
But yet the honesty needs to be told, because if it's not honest, then the relationship doesn't work, basically.
Absolutely. You shouldn't, the fear of your partner almost like lashing out at you, or getting upset or angry at you shouldn't be the reason you're not honest, because that's also an idea in your head of how they're going to respond. That may not necessarily be how they're going to respond. It's an expectation you've already placed, and you don't even know if it's a real thing. If,
Mhm.
however, it's a common thing for your partner to react in those situations, even in minor things that you've said before, then maybe it's time to reanalyze the relationship. Is that something you are comfortable in? If you are finding yourself not even being able to be open and honest about the simple things because your partner is that aggressive, or not understanding, then get out. You'll be better off on your own than with someone who's just going to depreciate your value, so to say, like,
Absolutely. I love that. I
yeah.
love those little, like, every bit of the answers you've given has been a very connecting soul kind of answers. And I love that because I think it's the journey that you're going through right now. We go through this journey of being able to find that right partner. And now we're looking at the journey of where we are at right now and where we were
Yeah,
before, right?
right.
So looking at you now, you're trying to find that partner that is your friend, that partner that you can rely on, that partner that you can do 50-50 on everything. She's
Yeah.
working, you're working, you guys can be together. The honesty has to be there. A relationship where, you can be that cocky, fun person and you can make her laugh and joke
Yeah,
around.
and still be a
You know,
dumb idiot on the side,
right. You can stare into her eyes and you can look into her soul and you're able to talk to her personally and love her for who she is.
For
You
sure.
can be yourself with that person. And I think this is what everyone's looking for is a relationship where they can have that with someone.
But I
And
think
I
the problem
don't,
is, sorry, I think the problem is we shouldn't even be seeking that. Like, if you're looking, then there's already a problem because you're not fulfilling yourself first. Like, it's something you want, but I came to terms, within the last year, of I could happily live the rest of my life on my own. I know how to do it. I know how to take care of myself. I know how to socialize. I can accomplish the things that I want to on my own. I don't need someone there. It would just be nice to have someone there.
thank you. Thank you for that. That is so beautifully said. It's so true. And it's so hard for a lot of people to say that. It's nice to be alone because there's so much that you could do. But in a
Absolutely.
relationship, you have to work together. And that
Yes.
together needs to be there. I remember watching all these shows about how there is this Indian one and then there's an English one. I don't remember what it's called altogether, but it's this one lady that's trying to match make two individuals. And so she'll get a list of from the woman of how she wants this man to look like or what personality this man needs to have. And they have this like as if they're going on a shopping spree.
Right.
He has to have gray eyes. He has to be this tall. He has to not be working this many hours. He has to be able to be rich enough to be able to support me. He has to have hair that's sticking out like this, and I don't know what and what. And they have this huge aspect of expectations from this man. And so she's looking at this list thinking, okay, like who is she going to pick? She
Yeah.
picks up this anyway, random people that she finds because they're also looking for women in this kind of category. And all she does is just put them together. And then the moment you'll be done, they're having one conversation. And in that conversation, there's everything wrong with them. The
Yeah.
looks, the talk, the eyes, the hair is not perfect. Oh, he doesn't work this many hours. He's a workaholic or whatever it is. There's always these little flaws. And I'm just sitting there laughing my head off because that's not what a relationship is,
No.
right? You
Yeah.
find a relationship through just it's this click and this click that just happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And when you click with that person, it's just you can sit there and you can talk to them and you can enjoy every conversation with them and have this heart to heart conversation, make them laugh, smile, and you said it all, like it just needs to click. You can look in their
Yeah.
eyes and say, you're the one, you're so beautiful inside and out. And it's perfect. I love that. And that really turns me on from another question. And that
Yeah.
question, the last question I have for you,
You're right.
the biggest question I have for you is in a relationship, sex is very important. And I think it's
Yeah.
very important. So,
Yeah.
how much is enough? when it comes to having sex, or is sex ever enough for you?
Um,
Sex is the biggest key in a relationship. So
I mean,
what is
sex is great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, sex is fantastic. I don't think I would ever turn down sex from a partner, but that could just be the biological aspect. Um, so in that sense, I would probably say
uh-huh.
it's not that it's never enough. It's just like, if you give me more, I'm not going to refuse it, kind of thing, you know. It's like,
I
sex
feel
is fantastic.
sometimes,
It's a very healthy, you know, part of the relationship,
yeah.
and I feel like maybe it's a little bit too focused on it. It's you know, oftentimes maybe the obsession with how much sex are you having, how often are you having sex, it takes away from the other beautiful aspects of the relationship. You know, it's I might not be in the mood for sex, but heck, I would love to just cuddle you under a blanket, watch a movie. Like, you know, we could be naked and all that. Maybe if it leads to sex, great. But like, the problem with sex, in a sense, is, or I shouldn't say the problem with sex. I think partners need to be more open with each other with what they enjoy about sex, what turns them on, what excites them. Partners should be more willing to experiment with each other, because that's what makes it exciting, keeps it exciting, develops it, you know, like then you have your little, like, you know, your little moments of I don't even know if I'm going to say this right, but like when you're both horny and you just know each other's horny, and like you get the signals, like you'll just see it coming from nowhere. But like, if you're fulfilling each other in a sexual aspect,
Yeah.
then I mean, this is completely my own opinion, my perspective on it, because I see myself as a monogamous person, and I know that there are people out there that that's not for them. They like having open relationships and being with other people, but as a monogamous person, and not for a religious aspect specifically, because I sex for me is, and this is probably something I should have started off with, sex for me is an interaction where I'm sharing very intimate energy and like a part of myself that I don't want to give to someone else, you know? And so if we're making that intimacy exciting between the both of us, and you know, I I am always willing to, like, I'm always willing to try new things. I think it's a stupid idea to be like, no, I don't want to do that, because you never know if you're going to like something or not until you actually try it, you know. So I think the openness about like what you guys want to do is definitely a big aspect for it, but there shouldn't be so much, there shouldn't be the idea of, is there ever enough sex in your relationship? Because if you're working on things, if you're open with each other, then there'll always be sex and you'll always be having fun. You should always, well, most of the time, feel fulfilled in it, you know.
I guess until you get married, you will never know the answer to sex.
Yeah, probably not, but I mean, I haven't approached that.
That's a big thing though, right? Like sex is a big thing in a relationship. And I guess that is something that a man and a woman really share when it comes to relationships and when they actually do come together in that form. Absolutely. Here's a question you may not know. And the thing is that, sex is a big thing, but now you want kids, right? So when you're
Mhm.
having sex with a woman, the woman is about to get pregnant, she gets pregnant, she's growing really big.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think that sex is easy to have at that moment, at that time?
No, but I also understand I've gone from being a 13-year-old boy who never knew what sex is, being able to take care of myself in like it's 9 months. Like, if you can't take care of yourself,
Hold
and
on a
wait,
second.
even the last like trimester is probably the only time that I think you like sex is not really a thing you should be doing. Um, but like,
All right, then they give birth.
yeah,
Then they give birth, and now
right.
they're not still okay for, let's say, another 6, 7 months down the road.
Okay, you've got toys, you've got other methods. I mean, like the sex industry has literally been created around the fact of like being able to please yourself, not even just a partner. Like, like you cannot, okay, every woman I have met, all right, has been honest about this. Yes, they love sleeping with a real man, but the things they can do for themselves, like a man can never accomplish in a sense, you know? Like, and I feel like a man has a certain aspect of that as well, where like, I know how to take care of myself. Like I can get myself done in a few seconds if I need
Oh my
to.
God, Nick. I'm
Like
so
this
glad
is
that
the
you
thing
brought
I'm
that up.
saying. It's like
It's good. It's a good thing, right? Because that is something that you can see that sex is great in a relationship, but the mentality that you have is it's not about everything. It's about the relationship you have with that woman, that you
right.
can be with her, even if you're not able to have sex 100% all the way through because of
Yeah.
everything you're going through. There are days where women are tired and they're exhausted and they're just not able
Yeah.
to have sex all the time. And that is understandable. I love the way that you said that, hey, I can be in bed with her all completely naked. Yeah, if it leads there, great. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
and a lot of men will disagree with you on that one. I'm sorry to tell you. They will be like, what the hell? I'm naked and there's nothing happening. Like, no way,
I
Jose.
think I enjoy a level of intimacy that's different, maybe, you know, like, but the
But
problem you have to, yeah,
like I said, a perspective from you and from other men, we're all different, right? We're all different. And we all
absolutely.
like different things, right? And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that you brought up something different. Who I interviewed before said something completely different about, men that have two heads, like, satisfying them, instead of letting them out of the house, what did he say? He goes, if you let them out of the house hungry instead of keeping them full, like
Yeah.
it really made me
It's like
realize that this
the,
man is, he needs to have sex all the time. It's just something that
right.
you keep a man all the time. Whereas when I'm talking to you, it's like, it's not just about sex, it's about the relationship I have. And that relationship is so much more stronger because when it does get strong and we are strong enough, sex will happen eventually once things get
Yeah.
better, back to normal. And yes, there's toys everywhere. So, I love I love that. I love that you brought that up because it is so important to see that not all men are the same.
I'm telling you now, any man who is like, "Oh, I have blue balls," you're lying, dude. You've been taking care of yourself since you were like first able to discover you could please yourself. Like, you know, that it's ridiculous to me. Like, and it's almost I blame the porn industry very much so for it as well. Like the the idea of sex has been so messed around with, and like porn has made it so fake that even women who watch it, you're expecting things that are unrealistic. Like stop watching it, stop because you're just toxifying your own mind, you're toxifying your own relationship, you're placing expectations on a person who is a person, they're not an actress or an actor in a movie trying to get you off. They have their own life, they have their own things to do, and you're not paying them. I hope you're not paying them, but like, it's a completely different thing, and the wires are crossed. And the problem is, especially with the internet and having devices in our hands, is kids younger and younger are exposed to it, and it's normalized and it's an expectation, and girls think they need to act this way for guys to like them in that way. They feel like they need to expose themselves, show themselves that way. Like, I'm not saying that if that's something you enjoy, that it's wrong. I'm just saying that the industry has created this barrier that has removed the intimacy and the relationship of sex with a partner quite quite harshly. Like, it sucks, yeah,
Really does.
anyway.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because it's a very good answer. And I really like the way that you said that there's so much happening in this world that we don't see anymore, especially when it comes to sex. It's become such a big thing. And it's nice to have knowing that, there are men out there saying it's okay. It's okay if the woman don't want it right away. It's okay to be naked with a
Yeah,
woman. It's okay to be the way that you are. But if it leads there, great. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. It's the connection you have, the soul connection with,
right.
right?
And I think the other aspect, sorry if keep you a little bit longer here. The other aspect is like we're also in a society where and I like this, where it's frowned upon, where men can just put themselves upon women, you know. And it's like, a woman has every right to refuse you. You don't own her, like, you know, and that's very important. And in a way, personally for me, it's way more attractive when a woman comes onto a man when it's something that she wants, because I can be ready in a few seconds, but like, it's a, you know, it's not always that case for a woman. So it's far more attractive and far more intimate when it comes from the woman's side, just in a personal aspect.
That's actually pretty cool to know. I like that. I like that
Yeah.
idea. Like, that's pretty cool. I never thought of it that way, but that's pretty fun. Yeah. I know that there might be some questions. There might be someone that's, whoa, that's sexy, or who's that? I want to know who that. Like, I don't know. Do you want people to be able to message you and say, "Hey, Nick, I saw your, I was listening to your podcast. I loved listening to you. I loved your answers. I have questions for you." Would you be open to if anyone wanted to send you messages through Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, you have my Instagram, so you can just pop my tag up there. But like, I mean, feel free. Like, I'm a pretty open person. I'm pretty honest. You might not always enjoy the answers you get from me, but you'll always be getting the true version of me, you know. And like, I'm single. I'm not seeking a relationship. I am, like I said, I'm happy to be on my own. It would be nice to have someone along for the ride and doing their own thing as well. So, you know, just wherever life takes it, ride the wave. Like, if there's someone out there who's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this chance. Like, heck, if a woman came up to me and was like, "This is the man," I'd be like, "Damn, girl, you got some like serious confidence." Like, I like that. You know?
All right,
Yeah.
woman, you've already heard that. He is single. So if you're single and want to mingle, I'll send you Nick's Instagram feed. You're most welcome to send him a message. You're most welcome to talk to him, ask him any questions you guys like.
Niche the
Whatever you guys
matchmaker.
want to do, do it without me knowing. I would love that. Other than that, I really enjoyed talking to you, Nick. I enjoyed all your answers, and I'm so glad that you gave such beautiful answers and your connections that you had. I loved every single bit of it. I think a lot of women listening to this will probably be like, damn, I need to know how this guy has, all these proper answers. We're looking for men that have these kind of answers. So I'm glad that you brought you on, because,
Full
I
disclosure,
really
though, I do have my
realized,
problems.
yes, everyone's different. Everyone's in their own life. Everyone's,
For sure.
yeah, but I guarantee you that you also have issues with women that you don't know about, and women
For
have
sure.
issues with men, and we're all in this little debate. So here I'm doing a podcast about really what do men want in a relationship. But so far, it's been very similar to what we know. The answers are all there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to know that, and it's good to see that. This is just my second one so far. So let's see how it
Hey,
goes with my
where does it
third,
go?
fourth, and fifth. I don't know. But
Be
other
good
than
to
that,
hear what
thank you
other
so
guys have to
much.
say.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for allowing
Absolutely.
yourself to record this podcast with me. Everyone else that listening in, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.